2, 3, 4.
Welcome to the Social Life Podcast. My name is Deanna Miller. I am the co-founder and marketing director of Stark Social Media Agency. I get together every week with Nate Imhoff to talk about all things marketing, web design, graphic design, fun stuff. If you want to subscribe to the podcast, go to thesociallifepodcast.com. We are talking today about how to choose the best social media site for your business. So basically, the nuts and bolts of this whole social media monster is there are
a bazillion
and one social media channels that you can get on to maximize your business, to build your sales funnel, to build an audience, to create awareness of your brand. And the funny thing is you don't necessarily need to be on all of them.
What?
She says the craziness.
You mean people don't have unlimited amount of time?
I do.
And energy to spend?
I do. I don't sleep hardly. But one of the things that sparked this one is we recently signed on with an amazing new client, Culinary Classroom. And it was a refreshing conversation when we met with them face-to-face to finalize all the deets about their social media strategy. And it was refreshing to me because the conversation took a turn. And she said, I don't think we need this. I don't think we need this. I don't think we need this. We already signed up for it, but we don't need it. And what makes me happy is usually it's like, okay, we have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have Instagram, we have Pinterest, we have LinkedIn, we have Google+, we have Yelp, but I don't know why. We have YouTube, we have Vimeo.
We have a Tumblr.
There's a
we have
Tumblr.
a SoundCloud. We don't even know why.
I'm not even sure what that does. I heard something about Foursquare. It's a different name now. It's called Squash or something. And I'm like, what?
Squash.
It's Squash. It's Swarm now.
Squash.
Close. So you really want to be careful about signing up for social media channels or trying to manage too many that don't necessarily apply to your business. So when our fabulous, we have Chef Eric and Jenny from Culinary Classroom, when Jenny started saying, well, we have Google+, but we don't really use it. We have this, but we don't really need it because it's not our audience. It made me like a little tear drop down from my face.
Well,
because
it makes it easier.
It makes it easier when you already know who your audience is. So if you don't yet know who your audience is, before you start signing up willy-nilly for social media channels, I would recommend doing some research so you know where you need to be.
Right?
Correcto. So what research in terms of your audience. There's like really good tools out there. How do people develop like what their audience strategy should be? Like they should do some research about your
demographics,
your location.
I mean, if you're
a local business?
If your audience is, millennialist, then
millennials,
whatever.
So you need to.
You want to be on Instagram.
So you need to make sure you do some research about your location. If you're offering services that are specifically location based, you need to think about who's going to be buying your products,
right.
Who's going to be utilizing your goods and services. Do you have a wide range? Do you have a small audience? Are you a niche marketing audience to market to? So you want to make sure that you know who your audience is, where they are, and what kind of applications and tools they're using to find the businesses that they want to engage with. So pretty much standard for all businesses. I think everybody needs to be on Facebook.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to be on Facebook.
Have a page.
And yeah, absolutely. Have a page. And that doesn't mean that you have to be posting every day, 6 times a day, like living and breathing the Facebook.
You shouldn't treat it like Twitter, no?
No. Buffer actually recently released some statistics that said that because of Facebook's algorithm, the most you should really be posting is 2 times a day. If you want to go for a daily strategy, But in conjunction with that, you should be doing some sort of advertising, so paid advertising,
Right.
so boosting posts or anything like that.
Well, if you're not willing to put, a few dollars on it, then it's probably not worth posting.
Well, yeah, yes and no. I think it just depends on what it is you're posting, because we don't just post content that's created by
Willy-nilly.
ourselves.
I wanted to use that word.
No.
Willy-nilly.
No, we don't just post client content. You post, we post all kinds of different things. So articles that relate to the different subjects that show that our clients are subject matter experts. So that kinds of thing is really important. But I think everybody needs a Facebook. And then the next thing that comes in line is Twitter. So the top 4 for me for most clients is Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. So I know that I didn't mention Google Plus, and there's a reason why.
Google Plus.
Because Google Plus is hard.
Yeah.
But I think the nuts and bolts of it is it depends on what kind of business you are. So for us, we're pretty much everywhere.
We try to be.
We try to be.
We try to be everywhere.
I do.
Very difficult, though.
It is hard.
Sometimes you lack on certain channels because of it.
Yeah.
You got so much to do.
There's so much to do.
But if you're a small business and this isn't what you do, then, you have to figure out where you're going to get the most bang for your buck, if you will.
Right. No, absolutely. So my recommendations for most businesses is Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And the reason I like Instagram so much is because, like you said, it's that younger audience that you're tapping into that isn't a Facebooker.
Right.
They're an Instagrammer.
Right.
And there's ways to do that. I think people get frustrated thinking about like, oh no, I have to post pictures of myself on Instagram.
Right.
And you don't. You don't have to always post pictures of yourself. Like branding wise, I think for our social media, in terms of what we do for Stark Social for Instagram, we'll post like pictures about the podcast. You have those cool podcast graphics you do.
Indeed.
I'll post those.
Right.
We've posted pictures with where we've been. Yes, it's been us, but it's been the podcast.
Correct.
So the best ways to come up with what social media channels are going to be important for your business is really deciding who your audience is, coming up with a content strategy. So that goes back to that content calendar that I'm always talking about.
I don't think every business needs a LinkedIn, though. Think about it. Like, let's say you're a bakery. Does a bakery need a LinkedIn?
Well, I think it really, yes, I would just claim it to claim the name.
Yeah. That's
But
that's true
I don't
with most of these,
necessarily
though.
know that you need to have a full-on like daily strategy.
Right.
Because I don't think people are going to LinkedIn for like tips on running a bakery
Right.
necessarily. But that's a good point. I like that. So you really want to know your audience, create that content calendar, and it's really, really, really important. What I like to do when I first start working with a client is put together a calendar of important things that they have going on. So events that are happening, if they're traveling, if they've got any kind of specials, if there's any kind of holidays that relate to the business, when there's anything fun or engaging or exciting that they might be doing. And then you decide what's going to best apply in terms of social media channels. I think a lot of people will jump on everything because it seems easy.
Right.
The one tip I do give is even if you're not going to use it, claim it. So your competitor doesn't claim it for you. Because I've actually had that happen where I was working with someone and they had their competitor had claimed their Twitter handle.
That's rough.
And it was really sad because they were tweeting out all kinds of like random stuff that seemed like it was like angry stuff from the guy who owned the company I was helping, and that was frustrating. But again, it was, they were parodying the company, and so no one was able to get in trouble. But if anything, even if you're not going to use it, claim it, direct them to your website in the link in the bio, and then make sure you put something like a picture in your AV that lets people know that that's who you are. So Twitter is a fun social channel that I think a lot of businesses are utilizing more and more on a regular basis because it's such a constant conversation.
Right. Well, I think you got to understand, like, when you're picking your channels, you got to understand the culture that comes with that particular channel. There's
Exactly.
etiquette, there's rules.
No rules.
No rules.
It's like Thunderdome.
Yeah, you can't treat Facebook like Twitter and Twitter like Facebook. And they all have their certain, I don't know if there's a better word than culture.
Nuances.
Nuances. There you go.
Nuances.
There you go.
Fancy word of the day is
Nuances.
But no, I agree. I think that like we were mentioning with Facebook, you can post a couple times a day and you're safe. With Twitter, you can post
like 10, 15 times a day.
I think the standard is like 10 or more.
Right.
So
there's really no limit.
You can post as often as you want, but I think what I'm noticing more and more is retailers, online, local retailers, so brick and mortar stores and online retailers. If you have an online product to sell, you really do need to be on Twitter.
Yeah.
If you're giving out a coupon code of any kind, if you're doing a special of any kind,
the hashtags
really make the difference, because yes, people use hashtags on Facebook, and yes, they're great for dial down searches, but Twitter,
no one does hashtags like Twitter though.
No, it's
Facebook,
a special
like,
beast.
It is, but then you got closed groups and it sort of blocks it off.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about for pages though.
Right.
The groups, yeah, whatever. But Twitter, and then you've got also you've got different types of events and things that you can do on Twitter. Like you can throw a Twitter party, which we've done when we've had online specials. So if you have a special during the holiday season that you're running, you could do a Twitter party, and you can say for the next hour you can get half off if you click on the link. And then you invite a bunch of people to it. You can invite bloggers, you can invite your friends, you can invite fellow tweeters. And really what that does is that drives engagement. So Twitter in and of itself is a special thing. I think each social media channel has their sort of like nuances, which is why certain businesses should select them. So thinking about it, I think Facebook and Twitter really are the foundation for a good social media strategy.
Right.
If you're a business of any kind, you really should just make sure you're doing the minimum of Facebook and Twitter. And if you're doing it on your own, I think that's a good place to start, because you don't want to do too much and overwhelm whoever it is in your business that's doing it.
Right.
You know, because we've come in contact with a lot of businesses where you have maybe the employees are helping, maybe the owner of the company is all in on it, and then
that always gives me a headache.
I know
it does. When you come and say like, oh, they're letting, you know, everyone, the janitor apparently can now tweet on the thing. You know, I'm like, why? Well, it comes back to like when I'm doing branding or we're doing stuff, and they'll be like, oh, let me go ask some people, and it's like, oh, I asked my mother-in-law and my janitor, and
right.
You know, and no disrespect to those people, but it's like the more people you bring in there, the more opinions, the more confusing it's going to get.
Right. And I think that's really the headache, is that if you have too many people, too many chefs in the kitchen,
right,
and if you will, then it ends up being a mishmash of a solid strategy. It really should just be one cohesive, all right, Jimmy, you're handling the social media, run with it.
Right.
You know, here's the branding, here's the logos, here's our images, don't do anything like crazy.
Every once in a while, you, in regards to branding and stuff, and when you're letting everyone and their sister do it, we're doing a branding project right now with a guy, and he is really on top of it. He knows what he wants, and he doesn't necessarily know how to like express it, but you know, it just makes it easier. He's not asking anyone and everyone.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
He's really thinking it out, and I really appreciated that.
No, absolutely. I think the next layer, if you're going to add a social media channel onto your social media strategy, is Instagram. Instagram is a great tool for reaching an audience that is not on Facebook, because Instagrammers and Facebookers are two different age groups. They have a different type of mentality. They have a different type of, you know, I have a friend whose daughter I follow on Instagram, and I think she posts like 20 pictures like in like an hour. And I don't even know what she's doing.
I'm having a snack.
She's like, it's
I'm getting a glass of water.
But the thing is it's not that mundane, but it's like there's all these pictures, and I'm
Right.
like, she's like in my feed constantly, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna have to unfollow you.
Well, part of the nuances of Instagram is it has that kind of, telling stories through pictures.
Right.
And if you're going to use it as a commercial vehicle, again, lack of a better word, you don't want it to be so commercial. You don't want to like have it be having flyers as your Instagram pictures and whatnot. You want to, respect the culture or nuances of Instagram and sort of be covert about the way you're marketing.
Right. And the cool thing now is that since Instagram has opened up advertising and you can do advertising on Instagram through Facebook, you don't want to just consistently always be advertising what it is you're doing. If you're a business, you want to show those sneak peeks, those behind the scenes, the fun stuff that might be going on with your business. You want to do a similar strategy in terms of hashtags as you would on Twitter, because the more popular your hashtags are, the more widely searched they are, the more likely they are to show up in the main feed or stream of Instagram, where all the users get to see what's new and hot and relevant. And you really want to end up being a part of that stream so that you can engage with a new audience and get more followers. And that's the best way to do it. Buffer actually released their new, hey, here's the research. And according to their research, 5 hashtags.
Sorry, I got hey, here's the research. That was funny.
Oh, look, Nate joined us.
Hey, I'm just listening. I'm listening like everyone else.
They said that if you are, a minimum of 5 hashtags is recommended. And I thought that, I was like, 5? That's crazy. So I researched it some more because I was like, that sounds like crazy talk.
Crazy
5.
talk.
And then I did some more research and I found a bunch of different reliable resources that said, yeah, the more hashtags that your image has, the better. I was like, wow. So
Yeah, that kind of blew my mind at first because I remember when that trend started, I really thought it was amateurs.
yeah, it's
amateurish, I guess you would say.
It's not, apparently. People love it. So we are talking about how to choose the best social media applications, sites, stuff for your business here on the Social Life Podcast. If you have not yet subscribed, go do it. thesociallifepodcast.com. You can do it while you're chugging your next beer.
Chugging.
Like
Sipping.
sipping.
There you go.
Enjoying. Maybe
But not while you're driving.
Because
then pull over.
if you need to drive, stick a straw in it.
A straw. Just a big long straw. Yeah, because legally, you just have to have it in the trunk. So if you have
Put
a
it in the
straw long
trunk.
enough, you can drink and drive.
Like a hose.
We're kidding. Don't
A
drink
hose.
and drive.
I'm joking.
But you could. I think you could legally do that as long as you were under the.
I don't think so.
I told you.
Maybe not.
Did I ever tell you about
we'll
that?
We'll goggle it and then we'll let you know. Join us
I'll tell you a story
after the
break.
On the Social Life. We will be back to talk more about how to pick the best social media channels for your business. Audio Guru's mind is blown.
He's shaking
we'll
his head.
see you guys after the break.
My parents run the best social media company around. Go to starksocial.com today.
One, two, three, four.
Welcome back to the Social Life. In case you missed the first half of our tantalizing episode, we're discussing how to best choose social media channels for your business.
I said I would tell my story though.
I'm trying to just roll right on past
But they
it.
want to hear the story.
No one wants to hear the story.
The story is
Audio
awesome.
Guru doesn't want to hear the story.
He already heard the story.
I know,
He
that's
didn't
why
believe
he's
it.
shaking his head. He's shaking his head. He's like, no.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I tell my story yet?
Fine. Tell your story.
All right. So I was going to renew my driver's license at the DMV. Shh. Let me talk. And one of the questions was, is it legal to have an open container in your car?
Yes.
Because of our kind of our
Heard
ongoing
this story.
joke. I know.
Finish.
And so I said,
Yes.
no. And I got this wrong because it is legal to have an open container as long as you have it in the trunk.
In the trunk.
So
Keep your junk in the trunk.
the lady said, oh, technically you could pull over, get out, open the trunk, sip your whatever, and then put it back. And as long as you're under the legal thing, it would be legal. And I was like, so why did I get this wrong? Like I'm erring on the side of caution and saying no open container in the car. She's like, I don't know, it's the law. It's wrong. I was like, whatever. There's my
That's
story.
an amazing story.
All right. Well, I said I would tell the story.
Did you talk about it?
I didn't say.
Did you tweet about it?
No.
Yeah.
No, this was like way before Twitter. It's like back in the day. This was a Thursday.
It was a
I think.
Thursday.
Thursday.
Right.
Okay.
Anyway.
Back to the social
So
media
now
stuff.
that you guys have heard his engaging story
Hey, I thought it was good.
about the DMV awesomeness, you know what's funny is like I paid my registration
Yeah.
like in November. Still haven't gotten my tags.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm going to tweet at the DMV right now. Anyway, so we've already talked about Facebook and Twitter being the sort of foundation for a good social media strategy. It's really important to make sure that you're starting with what you can handle and
Yes.
then adding layers to your strategy, adding channels that fit your business that aren't necessarily just like, we're on everything, and then we forgot about it.
Right. And being on something doesn't mean you auto post to it.
Right.
There's a lot of people do that
Well, it depends.
with their.
It depends on the strategy.
Well, yeah. Right.
Yeah. So, for example, like I have, if you're a public figure, you can connect your Instagram and your Facebook to your page because you may or may not have a Facebook profile. So that's fine. So like we have an if this then that connects our Instagram to our page.
There's a quick tip for that, huh?
There is a quick tip
On
for
the-
that
on the
on the
YouTube?
YouTube channel. Thanks for pointing
so.
that out, Nate.
Thought so.
Look at him being on the ball. I think I caffeinated him enough today.
Yeah, I need more coffee.
All right. So Facebook and Twitter, definitely the foundation for your social media strategy. If you're going to add a layer to social, the next one I would think about is Instagram. We talked about Instagram being for a different type of audience. Instagrammers and Facebookers are a different demographic in terms of age, education, income,
Nuances.
nuances. That's our fancy word of the day, by the way.
Nuances.
Then the next things that come on the list are they may or may not be a necessity for your business. They might just be something fun that allows you to take advantage of the SEO that is already available through that channel. For example, the next one on our list is Pinterest. Not every business needs a Pinterest. Not every business has quality content that they can share on Pinterest that makes it a valuable place for them to be.
Right.
Like I said in the first half of the show, I definitely recommend signing up and getting your vanity URL for these channels, even if you don't use them,
Right.
because you may have sneaky competition,
Sneaky.
sneaky,
Very sneaky stuff.
very, very sneaky stuff, that has thought, I'm just going to take this and I'm going to hog it, and then they can't have it.
Right.
So Pinterest, businesses I like Pinterest on, real estate agents, restaurants, nonprofit organizations, anything where you've got more than just your average food recipes, DIY craft stuff. We have a property management company we do social media for. We have a bunch of different videos that they've put together that are tips on, managing property, home maintenance, things like that. Those are great to share. I've seen a lot of bloggers do really well with social media, Pinterest posts. Pinterest is one of those things where it takes time to build a board. It takes time to build an audience. So if you don't have the time to dedicate to it, to hone it, to make it really awesome, to get that interaction, then I would definitely just, claim it and then decide what you're going to do with it later. Also, if you are a business, Pinterest has Pinterest for Business. So you can sign up as a business, and it gives you access to a bunch of tutorials, analytics, and tools that can help you decide how you're going to structure your Pinterest strategy. You jumped on Pinterest.
No, you said it was for girls.
I did. I changed my mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I got on that I didn't call it Pinterest. I called it Pininterest, remember?
Pinterest. And I was
Yeah.
like, stop. That's annoying.
That was a long time ago.
The next social media channel on our list is LinkedIn. LinkedIn, I think, if anything, just get in there and claim it, because you can claim your location. You can put in your business location, address, things like that. I don't think that LinkedIn business pages is for everybody in terms of posting and things like that, but it's definitely a good way to, good place to claim your stuff and just know that you have it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Google Plus. Google Plus.
They sort of make you have one.
Google Plus. What do I say about Google Plus?
It started off really good.
It's like Festivus all of a sudden.
You're going to air your grievances at Google Plus.
Google Plus is constantly changing, and the only thing I definitely think every business needs to have is, if you are a brick and mortar, you need to claim your Google My Business location. It's very much like claiming your location on Swarm, which used to be Foursquare.
Squash?
Squash was what one of my clients called it. I had to have a Squash account. I'm like, what is Squash? It took me so long to figure that one out. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to look so unprofessional if I don't know what Squash is. Like, oh, you mean Swarm?
Isn't that one game? Squash.
Squash is a game.
It's a
yes,
game.
it's a sport. But Google My Business is definitely important. If you're a brick and mortar, you want to make sure that you have pinned your location. That makes it easily accessible through Google Maps. So if somebody is searching for your business,
Goggling it.
if somebody's goggling your business, you want to make sure that you have claimed your Google My Business, which will then in turn create a Google page for you. There's like a lot of confusing stuff.
You can do reviews on there.
You can do reviews on there. You can share videos. You can do all kinds of cool stuff. So just make sure that you have your Google My Business location. That drops a pin on Google Maps. It allows people to review your business. I, if anything, recommend that you do that. And then you don't really necessarily have to worry about Google Plus too terribly much. It's awesome if you have the time to manage it. It is very similar to Facebook in terms of the kind of content that you should be sharing on it. So if you're really going to focus on one, I would focus on the monster in the room, and I would focus on Facebook. So not every business needs to be on Goggle Plus.
Goggle Plus.
Goggle Plus. I know somebody's going to go, Goggle? What's Goggle Plus? And I'm going to be like, it's just like Squash.
Sort of an inside joke, people.
It's just like Squash.
Audio Guru said they're going to end up on a porn site.
Well, if you do, share it with us. So then there's Yelp.
Necessary evil.
Yelp with an asterisk next to it.
I know, right?
Because for those of you that aren't keeping up, Yelp just recently won a court case which allows them to
do what we knew they were doing before.
Which allows them what we thought they were doing.
I knew it.
What we thought they were doing. We don't want to get in legal trouble. What we thought they were doing. So it allows them to charge money for the removal of negative reviews. So it's not necessarily, it's a necessary evil, I guess. If your business is a brick and mortar where people can come and visit you, you're probably going to end up with a Yelp account, whether you like it or not. If you've made someone angry, that's how it's going to get started.
That's the worst.
That's how it got started for a couple of people who I have helped to clean up their Yelp accounts. It usually started with somebody posting something that was like, I was at yada, 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 and the service was horrible, and my food was cold, and they're miserable people, and I hate them.
Right.
So go ahead and just, if you're a brick and mortar, if you're a restaurant, if you are a clothing store, if you're whatever, if you have an address where you service people you sell products and services, get your Yelp account started on your own. Don't wait for somebody else to do it for you. And then just what I recommend is your strategy for that is take a look at it. And then I think we talked about this in a recent podcast where we talked about customer service.
Right.
Where it's just be thoughtful about your responses.
Yes. Realize everybody's watching. And I mean, when you're dealing with Yelp, we're actually going to have a Yelp expert, if you will, on the next show. We're going to talk all about Yelp and what you can do. But, when you're tackling these and you get a negative or positive review, you have to determine what's this person's motivations. There's some people, you go and look and they got 20 reviews. They're all negative. They're all 1 star and airing their grievances. So, they clearly use, Yelp as a weapon.
Oh, totally.
So you can be polite to them, but there's highly unlikely that they're gonna remove it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We just saw that. Like, you totally did research for a client,
right?
And you scoped out.
Well, and the thing is because of the way Yelp's thing works too. If all they do is write negative reviews, their stuff falls off quick.
Right. Because this guy had 21 star reviews.
He had like 20 reviews, and most of them were 1 star. I think one had 2 stars, and then there was one that had 5 stars. So he was either, I like this one business, 5 stars, and everyone else sucks.
Right.
So.
Well, and there's people like Larry from Yelp.
Larry McClements, yes, from SCV Fix It.
He's not technically from Yelp. We just, because he's like an avid Yelper.
His nickname's Larry from Yelp.
Yeah.
Because back in the day when Yelp was first getting started, everybody sort of, it was more pure.
Well, there were people that really genuinely were writing reviews.
Right. And long reviews.
Like you had said before, using it as a weapon to get what they want.
Right.
So don't use it as a weapon.
But he had such a following that when he gave honest reviews, he would, just detailed. But, we're going to have him give some of his tips on dealing with people on Yelp. And how you can actually get some of these negative reviews removed if you play it right.
So that will be an upcoming podcast episode. Keep your eyes peeled for that
or just subscribe.
Funness.
And it will magically appear on your phone.
Wow, how do they subscribe, Nate?
They go thesociallifepodcast.com.
He set it up. He doesn't even know what it is. Our next channel is YouTube. Well, let's just pop these two together, YouTube and Vimeo.
Right.
They're both video tools,
right?
Online video tools. What's the difference, though? Because you know better.
I would say YouTube is probably more social media than Vimeo. Vimeo is, but it's sort of that we tend to use it if we want to pull video into something.
It's more like video storage.
Yeah, it's more like video storage. You still can do comments, but I rarely ever see things that are super active on it. I like that you can replace the video. So if you edit it or change it, you can go and you can't really do that on YouTube. And the quality tends to be a little bit better on Vimeo versus YouTube. So if you have a website and you're pulling a video in, you could pay, I think it's $60 for the pro account on Vimeo or premium or whatever it's called. Mm-hmm. And then you can pull that in and you don't have to have cat videos come up. Like if you embed a YouTube video on your website, you could have somebody's cat videos come up.
But I love the cat videos. Cat videos are so pretty.
Well, yeah, but you want people buying your stuff and not watching cat videos.
But then we also have Wistia.
No, that's even more extreme. So if you're not using that's not, I don't think that thing's social media at all. I mean, you can comment on it, but it's like it takes the stuff that Vimeo did and goes to a next level.
So like you've got YouTube, which is basically the social channel, and nuts and bolts of it for me, is if you don't have content to share, don't worry about being on YouTube. If you don't have videos to post,
right,
then don't worry about being on YouTube. I think a lot of people stress out about it and they're like, I should make videos. But don't stress out about it. Don't put yourself in a position to be overwhelmed with social media, because then it just ends up being frustrating. And then,
well, I think that's what this show's really about, is picking what channels you're going to use and doing them well, rather than trying to do all the channels and doing them all, like Ron Swanson says, whole ass one thing instead of half ass two things.
Right. And then Flickr,
You're a photographer, yes.
I don't use it anymore. because they disconnected the ability to log in from other accounts.
From Google.
You
huh?
have to have a Yahoo account
It's that
now.
thing where we were talking about I think the previous show where they get all spiteful at each other.
Yeah. So now you
I don't like you
can't.
now.
Flickr is like totally locked down. You have to have a Yahoo account. Like I went to log into my Flickr account so I could download my stuff, and it was forcing me to create a Yahoo account.
I guess I don't want the money.
That's fine. Whatever. And then you've got Tumblr, which is very similar to what initially was like a Blogspot or Blogger.
Yeah.
Those types of things.
Now
where
it's more like Instagram meets Facebook.
Yeah, so it's sort of like Blogspot and Facebook and Instagram had a baby.
Right.
So I really like it. I think there's a lot of fun stuff on there. You can post a lot of different types of images and videos and cool stuff. So that's another way to tap into a different type of audience. But again, you don't need all these channels. If you don't have the time, then I wouldn't worry about it.
Right.
So pick what works for you. We have a bunch of other things. So you've got Foursquare, which is now Squash. I'm sorry, Swarm.
Squash.
I still can't. It still was funny. I was on the phone with someone who was like, "Yeah, so we the most we've done in social media is that thing that's called Squash now." And I was like, "What's Squash?" Amazing. There's some specialty channels. So these are cool. My favorite's Untapped
Indeed.
of the specialty channels.
Yeah, but if you that's only if you are in the beer industry.
More people should be
As
in
user.
the beer industry.
Yeah.
So there's some specialty channels. We're going to talk some more about this in the show notes and on the blog post that goes along with it. Make sure you go to thesociallifepodcast.com to subscribe. We've talked about building a solid social media channel, how to choose the best social media channels for your business. Basically, in a nutshell, my thought process is start with Facebook and Twitter, and then research and decide where your audience is and what other channels additionally are valuable to your social media strategy. A lot of people tend to jump on and try and do everything at once and then get frustrated and end up talking to people like us for help. And that's okay. You can always hire somebody to help you with your social media strategy. That's okay too. But if you're doing it on your own and you're just getting started, I definitely recommend start with Facebook and Twitter. Decide who your audience is, decide what kinds of goods and services your audience is looking for and how you can best relay what your goods and services are to that audience in a really strong way, and then add layers to it. We are Stark Social Media Agency's co-founders. I'm Deanna Miller,
Nathan
marketing
Imhoff.
director. Nate Imhoff. Nate Imhoff, the creative director.
The creative director.
We will be back next week with another episode. We've got a lot of cool ideas that we're throwing around. We will be talking to somebody about how to manage Yelp successfully, getting
tips.
some great tips and ideas. We're also going to be talking, hopefully in the future, about some of our favorite podcasts that we listen to and what we've learned, what we take away from them. So stay tuned. Come back next week.
Subscribe.
Subscribe to thesociallifepodcast.com, and don't forget to follow us on all our social media channels. We'll see you next time. Have a great day.
Bye.